Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hello,
Hi,
Jackie.
Sandra, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Oh, I'm well.
Good.
I said I didn't just get back from a 10-hour, 20-hour drive like you did.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I left the country for a few days. Let's put it that way.
Wow,
yeah.
that's crazy. Well, yeah, I'm doing well because I didn't have to sit in a car for very long. But we're glad that you're here. I'm glad you made it back safe.
Yes.
So we're excited to have all of you here today. Welcome to Three Things at Three, where number one is something to make you smile.
Oh, smile
first.
Then
number
we get
two,
to learn.
then we get to learn.
Okay.
And three, something to discover. Let's go. Here we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are at another week. It's amazing how time is just flying so fast. We have a new week and a new theme. And this week, last week, we talked about things that we're grateful for. This week, we actually are talking about so thankful for. And we have some really fun things planned for this week. So we want everyone to have some gratitude hearts, and we're excited to get going. So Sandra, I think everyone is wondering, what about your 10-hour? Where did you drive from?
I actually left the country. I went to Canada.
Okay.
I went up to Canada to southern Alberta to visit with my daughter and my grandkids, and it was a good visit. It was great.
Yeah, we were just talking that it would have been worse for you to go to Salt Lake, get a flight, drive, and then it would have been longer than being in the car.
The flight to southern Alberta, where they live, is just, it's not a real convenient, let's put it that way. It's not a convenient flight. So we just drive it, and it is a 10-hour drive, but it's through Montana and part of Idaho, and it's absolutely a beautiful drive. The canyons are great. So
the snow, did you run into snow?
We did on the way home. We didn't get snow. It had snowed.
Oh, it already had snowed.
And it snowed, and so there was snow on the ground, but we did not have any problems at all as far as that goes. So
good.
It was good.
Good.
It was awesome.
Good. I just can't even imagine riding in the car for 10 hours with my husband. I hope he's not watching, because I think we probably would just kill each other. I'm in the car with him for like just down the street, and he scares me. Yeah.
We kind of traded off a little bit. He drove some, I drove some. Our daughter that lives here, she went with us too, with our little 2-year-old granddaughter, and so she was a trooper.
That's
she
awesome.
rode very well, and there was no problems at all. Of course, they have their little her Kindle iPad that she has that she watches all of her movies on and stuff. So no, it was a pleasant drive, actually.
Good. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you made it safe.
Yeah.
And I bet it was fun to see the country. That's the other thing that's really fun, is to go and see the different sites and everything that are around. So that's awesome. Yeah, well, that's great. Well, we're so thankful. I'm sure you're so thankful.
Yes.
That's SEW.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about that this week, and we're going to be talking about different mentors. And Sandra, you have a mentor that you want to talk about today for our number one.
I do, Jackie. I started sewing when I was very young, and a lot of it was because of my mother. Okay, my mother was a seamstress, and she made a lot of my clothes when I was little and a young girl, and she taught me how to. And then, of course, you know, when you get into high school, you take home ec. And I did a lot of sewing there. But by the time I was about 16 years old, I was actually teaching 4-H classes. I think a lot of you know what 4-H classes are.
Yes.
But yeah, and then after my mother made my wedding dress.
Wow.
Her and I worked together, and we designed and made my wedding dress. And then after that, when I started having children, I actually, you guys are going to laugh at this, but I made their diapers. I made all of the cloth diapers because I wanted to do cloth diapers. And you know, when my oldest was born, let's see, too many years ago, I won't even, that'll age me way too much. So anyway, they were just starting to come out with disposables. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Anyway, and so I made all the cloth diapers for my first 2 children. And then when they started going to daycare, obviously, we put them in disposable diapers by that time. But yeah, but my mother helped me as my girls started getting older and were involved in school and dance and stuff. I made a lot of their dance costumes. I made all of their prom dresses.
Oh my goodness.
And a lot of it was assisted from my mom. I will have to admit that. She helped me do that. And then I have 3 daughters, and I made all 3 of their wedding dresses.
Wow.
And at that point, you know, it was like, in fact, my daughter and I were talking about it on the way home yesterday. I had actually taken several different patterns for each one of them. They all wanted different styles. So I'd take the sleeves of this one, the bodice of this one, the skirt of this one, you know, I'd take them all and compose their wedding dresses. So each one of them had a different style, and we just kind of pulled them all together that way. And then after that, is when I started into quilting. So my mother actually had owned a quilt store for a few years, and she got into quilting at that point, and then she taught me. I said, "Oh, Mom, I want to learn how to do that too." And so I was probably in my 30s about that. I was probably in my 30s, and she started teaching me how to do some quilting. And in fact, probably one of the first quilts I made is very similar to the one that we're going to show today.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. But yeah, and another first for me as far as quilting was that she taught me how to do paper piecing.
Yeah,
that was one of the first things that I learned how to do was paper piecing.
That's really a fun technique.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's very, very influential in my sewing and, you know, my quilting. After my mother passed away, and you know, of course, there's always some money that comes with when your parents pass. And my mother did all of her quilting on her machine. On her sewing machine. She did all of her free motion quilting was all done on her sewing machine. And I had talked to her multiple times, "Mom, we need to get a long arm. We need to get a long arm." Of course, she lived in Idaho and I lived in Utah, so it was always just a 5-hour drive to get to her house. But she kept going, "No, I don't think I'm too old for that." And I'm like, "You're not too old for it." But she ended up passing at an early age. She ended up with breast cancer at 77 years old and passing from that. And so anyway, after she had passed away, that was the one thing that I purchased with some of the money that I got from my mother was a long arm.
Wow.
I got an HQ. I got a handy quilter, Amara. And
that is really cool.
So I am not real great at that quite yet, but I'm working that direction.
That's awesome, though.
So, yeah.
You know, I bet every time you sew or you do something, you think about her, right?
Oh, totally. And I only have one sister, and she she just never got into the quilting bug. She never got the quilting bug, let's put it that way. And so when my mom did pass, all of her projects and all of her fabric came my direction.
Wow.
And so I do have, I have to even say, I still have some of her UFOs.
Are you gonna? Yeah.
I have completed quite a few of them, and
awesome.
she had quite a few quilt tops that she hadn't quite finished. The quilt tops were finished, but she hadn't got them quilted.
Yeah.
And I have done a lot of those for my kids and for my grandkids.
Oh, that's so fun.
We still have a little bit of my mother's spirit with us, that's for sure.
I bet.
So yeah.
It sounds so familiar because I'm the same kind of way. I only have one sister, and she does not sew at all. But I got a lot from my mother as well. And so
yeah, there are many times that I'll be sitting there and I'm like, especially working on her projects.
Yeah, I bet.
I'll be sitting there and I'm like, okay, Mom, what's your thought process here? Because it's not coming to me.
Yeah.
And I'll work with it a little bit, and I might even have to get up and walk away. And when I come back, I'm like, I got this.
Yeah.
And I can figure it out and I can do it. So yeah, it's, like I said, she's still there. She's still in my sewing room. There's some boxes of stuff that I see around, and so yeah, you're exactly right, Heidi. She is with me. And I feel it all the time.
Yeah.
When I am sewing, that's for sure.
I bet.
So yeah.
I bet. Well, that's a really tender story.
It is.
It really is. And
It
I'm
is.
so glad that you were able to have that with your mom, that you were able to
Yes.
have that time together. And a wedding dress, I can't even imagine doing a wedding dress, but wow, that is just really impressive to me.
And it's funny because I had several of the young girls in our neighborhood when we were living down in the Salt Lake area down in West Valley that would come to me and they'd say, Sandra, can you help me, take this in or hem it, or can you put sleeves on it? Can you put this on it? And I'm just like, and I did it. And I did it quite often. And but when we moved from Salt Lake and moved up to Cache Valley, I went, okay, my shingle's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's neat.
It's okay to do it for your family, and but I was like, I'm done doing that for other people.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But yeah.
Well, that's really fun. Well, hopefully this week as you watch 3 at 3, that you'll be able to kind of think about some people that are, that you're so thankful for, a mentor of yours. We would love to hear some about some of those. So feel free to comment, and be fun to read about all of our mentors that help us along the way. That's awesome, Sandra.
Thank you.
I'm so happy. I mean, it really brings a lot to our hearts, for sure, because my mom is the same way. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, we have a great show for you today, and a fun project that we're gonna go through. So, Sandra, you and I will be heading over to the sewing machine.
Okay.
But we're gonna watch this before we go. So, we'll see you over there.
This is called the No Fuss Folded Coaster, and this is a darling 4-patch. Square that we have is 5x5. This is fusible interfacing. Yes. I'm gonna hand you our first square. Iron that right onto that fusible interfacing. We're gonna put this right here so that they can see, because here's where the magic happens. We also have 4 more 5x5 squares. We're gonna fold all of them in half. Folds to the center, so all your eye edges are on the outside. At this point, I'm gonna have you go to the machine. Trim the corners.
Yes.
Turn it inside out. Yep. Then we're gonna poke those corners out. We're gonna iron that down. That's all there is. It's perfect.
Yes. Well, here we are at this beautiful quilt that's behind us. Is this amazing or what?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
The colors are so bright and
They
so
are.
bright. It's beautiful.
Yeah, well,
It's so
this
great.
is called a one block wonder
Okay.
quilt. Or you may also think of it as a kaleidoscope. I know back in the day, I also called it that as well.
Yeah.
But you take, we're going to show you 2 different ways that you can make this. And the blocks that are right here are all out of this same panel. And so I'm excited to kind of walk you through a little bit of that and maybe some of the experiences, Sandra, that you've had as well.
Yes.
So let's head on over to our chairs. And let's get started with this fun project. And I remember doing this a while back, and I remember how fun it was. I didn't do it with a panel. I did it with regular yardage.
I've done one with yardage.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so we'll kind of walk you through a little bit about how you go about do this. Our inspiration is taken from this book, One Block Wonders. They also have another book about the panels. They've got all kinds of different things that are different books that they have written. This is from Maxine Rosenthal. It goes through and shows you everything, how you can do it, and that it's just out of one fabric. So we use the panel that with the turtle. And just a couple things maybe to talk about when you are actually deciding on your fabric, okay? I think that the important thing is that at least choose one that has big florals or something with lots of fun colors. Choose the colors that you love,
Right.
For sure, because it's something that you're going to cherish forever.
And I think that you will be amazed at what happens with a piece of fabric when you use this technique.
Exactly.
It just makes it pop. You just, honestly, you'll look at it and you'll think, oh, you know, that's not really very pretty fabric. But once you start working with it like this, it just brings it out.
Yes,
So,
it does.
Yes.
All right, so I am going to show you how to get started by using yardage, and I'm going to use this fabric. I actually love this fabric. We're going to kind of go back and forth from the panel to regular yardage, and we'll show you. But this is the fabric that we're going to I'm going to show you how to get it going. That when you're choosing fabric, you'll want to choose a fabric that has a repeat. Okay. Most fabrics have a repeat. So I can look at this fabric and I say, okay, I can see that there is, find a flower here, there's a repeat here, and then I see it again, the exact same flower right here. So that's about 12 inches.
And it repeats it on the width and the length.
Yes. So what you're wanting to look for is, ideally, you're wanting 24 inches. So on this one, since this one is only like 12 inches, and I would actually cut it at the next repeat, which is over here. So then that gives me the 24 inches that we need. You can do it with a smaller, if you want to do a smaller quilt.
Okay.
You certainly can do it. I cut this one just for the sake that we didn't want to have all of this fabric. But you're going to need 6 layers. So when you're doing...
So you're also going to want to cut it for your repeat from this end to this end also too, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you're going to figure out how to do that and try and cut off at least amount so that you don't waste.
Right.
Right. And so when it actually comes off the bolt, it's going to look like this. The selvages will be together. And so then I looked at it this way, from here to here, and I cut it. So this is about 12 inches. So I'm going to open it up, and I've pressed the fold out, and I've pressed it really nice, because now you're going to want to cut 6 layers. Now if you're doing a panel, you're going to use 6 panels, plus you're going to need 1 for your center.
Okay.
Okay. So I wouldn't necessarily keep a full piece of my yardage to put in the center, but I would a panel.
A panel, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Yes.
So I've laid these out the best that I can, but then the really cool thing that you need to do is you've got to make sure that all of these layers are matched. Can you?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's going to be really taxing. How am I going to do that? Well, let me show you how you can do that. What you will need is a really, really good sharp blade on your rotary blade
cutter.
because you're going to be cutting through 6 layers of fabric.
Right.
You're going to want some flower pins,
Okay.
which
Your flathead
flathead
pins.
something so that so when
Okay.
you're starting to cut, you can actually use your flathead pins. Then you can either use a regular ruler, or we also love to use this 60-degree equilateral triangle.
But your ruler needs to have a 60 and a
Yes,
45-degree angle lines on
Yes.
them.
So you can use either one, but I actually love this ruler because you can use this for so many different things.
Yes.
So I love this, and all of these products that we are talking about today are on our new releases on our website. All right, so once I've got my fabric ready to go, I'm going to just hang this other piece off. I want to go in at least an inch from the selvage and on each side. And I'm going to take my pin. I'm going to find, there's not a right or wrong. You find a place on the fabric that is easy for you to distinguish.
Right.
Okay. So I look on here and I'm thinking, okay, where there's an intersection too, which is also very helpful.
Yes.
So I'm going to say that I'm going to come in because here's this little black stem or something that's right here. I'm going to actually take my flower pin. I'm going to poke it through right at the very top.
For the very end of that that line.
Okay.
Okay.
So then that's the first one. Okay, I'm going to go to my second one, and this one actually is right here. Going straight down in the fabric. And this is kind of awkward at first.
Yeah, it is.
So then I'll go to the next one. Hopefully I'm right by this. I'm going to go to the next one, take my pin, and stab that in.
That's another really good reason why you kind of look at your repeats on your length of your fabric, not just on the width.
Yes, yes, yes. And then you'll go to your next one. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. And there it is. Okay. And I'm going to do that to all 6 layers. And this is what's so nice to have a flat pin and that it's long. You have long pins.
So you're going through your fabric in the same place
Yes.
of the print on the fabric.
Yes.
On all 6 layers.
Yep. Yep. So then once you get that, I'm going to actually just kind of make sure that I've got them all. I'm holding onto my pin, making sure all of the layers, and it looks like I've got,
They're all lined up.
yeah, that they're
At the
all lined
same
up at the
place.
same place. So I can hold my pin, I'll show you a little bit here. Hold my pin upside down so that it's straight up and down, and then I can once I do that, then I know that I'm pretty close, and then I can take another flower pin, and I'm going to take a big bite right next to that. And there we go. So now we've got them all lined up. Of course, it's kind of hard when we've got such a small area right here. And you would be working with a wider piece of fabric too. So make sure that that's all. Then I will find another
Point on the
I'll
design.
find another point, and I'll do the exact same thing.
Right.
So basically, you can do really about only six.
Yeah.
Really, you can on 6 pins. You should be able to keep it nice and straight all the way down.
Yeah.
You would do the exact same thing with the
Panel piece.
panel pieces. You'll lay
Okay.
them on top of each other, and then you'll find some points that you can actually go through and do the same process.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
So
I
we
think
lay
that's it.
that all out. Then when you're done with that, then you can square up your fabric, cut off the excess, and then you're going to cut it into strips. Now,
Okay.
you can actually do whatever size strip you want to. If you want to make small little hexagons, we're going to do hexagons. In the book, it tells you that you can do octagons
Right.
as well, and there's some other things that you can do as well, which are really cool. But we're going to do a hexagon.
Okay.
So then I'm going to just say,
And I agree. Doris is saying that a wool mat would be helpful.
Yes.
And it can, because then that way you can stick your pin right,
Right
down
down
into
in.
that wool mat, and that'll hold it, and then you can maneuver your fabric around
Yeah.
to make it lay flat.
Yeah,
And then
that's
you
really
move on
good.
to the next point of your fabric.
yeah, which is really good too. It's a little awkward when you're sitting down. I would be standing up doing this
Yes.
as
Yes.
well. But
Yes.
that is going to be the most taxing, I think the most taxing thing.
Yes, it does
'Cause
definitely take some time.
Once you get that all laid out together and you've got it to where you feel like
Yes.
you want to, then you're going to cut it into strips. So you're going to cut it into strips from selvage to selvage, whatever size hexagon you want.
Okay.
So this one, we'll show you that this one actually is the panel. So I have taken my 60-degree ruler, and I'm going to, once I've pinned them all together,
So again, tell me, how wide are your strips that you're cutting?
This one actually is 4.25, it looks like. So you can do them whatever size you want.
Okay.
Whatever size hexagon.
Okay.
You can cut your strips, because then on this ruler, which is really nice, you could do this clear up to an 8-inch.
So
You could do a 10-inch stacker,
yeah.
and you could make your hexagons like really big. So
Oh, great idea.
Depending on the size, or if you wanted to do like just a table runner and you'd want them a little bit smaller, let's say you cut your strips at 3 inches.
Okay, so
Okay.
depending on how big you want your block, or your
Yeah.
block pretty much, or your hexagons, it would be how wide you would cut your strip.
Right.
Okay,
right,
all
right.
right, got it.
So then here
Marilyn
are
asked a great question,
Okay.
and if you do an octagon, you would need 8 layers,
Yes,
and that is
yes.
exactly right.
And everything is in the book that
Right.
tells you exactly. In fact, let's grab the book, because they also have some really beautiful colored illustrations with some from different
Like
quilts.
I said, I mean, you look at this
These
fabric
are-
right here, and you're like, oh my gosh, what would anybody ever
Well,
do with something
yeah.
like that?
I don't want to say choose the ugliest
No,
fabric, because
right.
that, I said, I think you have to I would say find the colors that you
Right,
really
but
love.
What a beautiful quilt that made
Right.
it into.
And you're
Oh,
just like,
you're
okay,
right.
well, here's one that is just kind of with just
Okay.
monochromatic. There we go.
That's the word.
Yeah.
There's some and here's like a leopard print, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure I want leopard print in my quilt, but yet it
But it looks-
turns out
yes.
to be absolutely
Yes.
gorgeous.
I know. And so this one is basically teaching you how to do it with yardage.
Right.
But if you're going to do it with a panel, you do the exact same process. They do have a book that talks about the panels. But you can kind of see in here that you've got the strips, and then you will take your ruler and you will cut the triangles going this way, then you'll turn it and cut it this way.
Okay.
So you're going back and forth, cutting all of your triangles. Now, when you're done cutting your triangles, it's important to pin them together so they don't get lost.
Right.
So this is a group of 6 different triangles. So I've actually, this is where you would start out with, here's your strip right here. So you can see how we've cut it. Let me move that up a little bit so that you can see. So then I will have cut my strip here, here and here. Then I've turned it upside down and cut it here. And then I'll turn it upside down again.
And because
cut
of
it
the
here.
repeat, because of the difference in the design on your fabric, each one of those are going to look
Yes,
totally different.
It's just like the cool little toy, you know, the kaleidoscope. Did you
Kaleidoscope.
have those when
Yes,
growing up? That
yes,
you
the
looked
little
in and you
yep,
twisted.
yep.
It's
You
exactly.
used it as a yep.
It's exactly the same. It's the same process.
Okay.
And so now that I've got these, now what you're going to do, and I'll show you how cool this is. We'll do it with this one. We'll try it. Now you can actually lay out your triangles. Let's look and see. There are 6 different ones. You can lay them out.
This is the part
is
that
where
is
it's
absolutely
really
just
Cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yes.
It
So you're
just
going to
throws
lay
ya.
you're going to lay it out, and I feel like I'm all thumbs.
Excuse me.
Okay, so there we go. So there's one block, but then you can actually, you'll sew those together. So it
it's
kind
really nice to have one of those mats that you can lay your block out on and then
yes.
and turn it
it
around.
suggests that you have a wall design,
yes,
a
design wall or a
which will
design
really,
board.
will really help
Yes.
with this for sure.
Yes.
And if you have the room for it, you can put it up on your wall. But not only can we do this, but we could even change and have
This
this
is
go
the part
in the
that is
center.
absolutely, I love it.
Okay, so I'm going to change just the way we arrange these.
And you get a
And you get a totally different look,
on
right?
your block.
See, and there's another one.
I
Isn't
love
really
that.
Cool?
I love that.
Yes, it's so.
Yeah.
That's how you can have so many different options for the quilt, and you can do this with every block. In fact, there's a little. Here, let's just do one more. This has a little black part.
Now that, unfortunately, would be incorporated into your seam.
Yes, but
look what it's doing.
Yeah, but you
Jackie, look what
can-
it's doing on that circle.
I know. I says here you're
Wow.
getting the wreath
Yes.
or whatever it is, the seaweed or whatever they call it. See, you've got a circle going.
Yes,
You have a
I
circle
love it.
going. Isn't that fun?
It's awesome.
I said
just-
this is just like the coolest thing ever. I have
Yes.
loved this, and really, it's a very simple.
Oh,
it's very simple.
Yes, it is. It's a little time-consuming stacking those all
Yeah.
in one piece. But once you get that strip made and you start cutting those, and then you're looking at that, and you're like, oh my gosh, look at all these different blocks that I
Yes.
can make.
So you'll want to make sure that you have a variety of different ways, even if it doesn't turn out all that wonderful. It still, I think, will add to the quilt because it will have the same. It will have the same colors in it.
So
right?
the one that I did, and I will tell you, it wasn't a one block wonder, which is, I know how to do this. The one that I did was called Stack and Whack,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is basically the exact same procedure, okay? But I did mine in red, white, and blue
Ooh, I bet
fabric.
that was cool.
And it looks like fireworks have gone off on my quilt. It is so pretty. My kids fight over it. Mom, I get that. I'm like, well, we'll just have to
Yeah.
see about that. But yes.
Well, I think it would just be so fun to. Here's another one.
Let's see what this
I mean,
one's
this
gonna
is
be
just
like.
gonna. We could just sit here and do this
Oh, I
all
could.
day,
Yes,
right?
I could.
I mean,
Okay.
that's kind of cool.
Now that's different. You
That
didn't
is
lay
different.
them the same way.
Here we go.
There we go. No, turn it one more time.
See, this is why you need
The other way. Perfect. No, this has got to go up. Yeah, it's got to go
Oh well, but
that
see,
way.
look, I've got this going here.
Okay, so you want this here?
So, well, here we're gonna just.
Okay, perfect.
We'll
that works.
we'll try it this way.
All right. Because you
See,
can.
you see? Well, right. I know, but look at this. You're creating this.
There you go. Okay, now I see where you're going with it. All right,
Okay.
perfect.
This is where the fun is. Is
Exactly.
just being able to see that. That just kind of.
Well, when you're
adds-
looking at that, where you've got that sea turtle in the middle of your
Yeah.
quilt, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah. So you can change those
Yeah.
depending on what you want to do.
It's
So
so
this
fun.
is really fun.
It's so fun.
So
to
what
make.
you do next is, once you've got it the way you want to, you're going to we're going to sew it in groups of 3, okay?
Okay.
So we are going to, are we okay with the way we liked this one?
I like that one.
Okay, so we're gonna take and sew 1/4 of an inch from here to here, Sandra.
Yeah. Doris says she'd never get that done because she loves playing with
Well,
it to see
I
what
said-
the different ones
yeah,
are.
I know. So
Okay.
you're just going to sew 1/4 of an inch
Okay.
down the side, and we're going
No.
to sew 3 triangles together.
Let me make sure I
So
got that
then-
the right direction. Okay. Perfect.
I know. That's why it's nice to have a design wall or something close by so that you don't.
Yeah, that's why I said the board, and you'd have it sitting right there next to your machine.
Yeah.
And
I don't even know if I got that one. I think I did. I
know.
said, however you want to do it. It does look like Anne. It says it looks like a
all right.
pinwheel.
Okay, there we go.
So-
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's
I
really
got
fun.
There
Looks
we
like
go.
fried shrimp
There
or
we go.
chicken. This little piece right here, I don't know where. Oh, this is actually the foot of the turtle, is what this piece is
So,
right here.
Jackie, is this set so that it's at the 1/4 inch at the edge of my foot?
Yep, it sure is.
Okay, it is now.
Yep.
Perfect. Because that's
Just
what I'm going to
a
use.
touch of the button, that makes it easy.
Okay.
So she's just going to sew 1/4 of an inch. Now, okay, there's a question here.
Give me another one.
How would you, well, we have to open it.
I
and
know,
show-
but give me that other one on the other
Oh,
side.
so that you can, okay, gotcha.
I'm going to chain stitch here,
Wow,
girl.
okay, this is awesome. Okay, so there's another thing here. Okay, would you press your seams open or would you press them to one side? That one
Yeah, go
would
ahead.
be, I think I would sew them, I would press them open
Okay.
because then you would you wouldn't have the bulk in
Just a pair of
between.
scissors there, handy.
Oh yeah. Then you wouldn't have the bulk in the center,
Okay.
just like a regular
Now I'm going to
pinwheel.
give you this one, and now you got to give me the one.
I got to give it back to you.
Yeah, you got to
how
give
I
me
got
the
it.
one that
All
needs
right,
to go
so-
with it.
Oh, this is going to be a trick here. So I'm going to just kind of finger press this open so that you can see. And I'm going to sew the 3 of them together. So I think I go this direction, I believe. Who knows? Because maybe we will come up with a totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, you could actually sew them however you wanted to. So that's pretty awesome. So you're going to sew them. I'll give you this one and you can sew that one.
Okay.
So you're going to sew them so that you have 3. You sew the 3 together, and then you sew the other 3 together. Then you're going to take it and make sure that on your pairs, you'll pin all of those pairs so that you'll have them all together. Because then once you're done with that, then we're going to sew it into rows.
I'm hoping this is right.
Well, it's all good. It's all good if we'll make it work.
Okay.
So then once you're done with sewing your groups of 3 together, then I'm going to take it and I'm going to lay it out in rows. Okay, so let's say this has got to go over here. And then I'm going to sew. We're going to sew the rows. So we'll take and we'll flip this over and sew this 1/4 of an inch right here. And then we'll take our other one. So can you see what we're doing here?
Oh, so you actually don't sew it all the way together?
No, you don't. You sew it into rows.
Okay.
Okay. So then I'm going to have you sew. This one is open.
Okay.
Sew that together. I'm going to make sure these are.
And you
This would be great for the fabric folding pen as well. Or if you have something close by, I don't mind finger pressing. All right. So you're going to sew the strips together. And this is where your portable design wall or just a design wall period would be really good. One that's on the wall would be
Yes.
very helpful because you want to make sure that you do them all in the same Oh, we've got this one.
Did I do that? That's when you handed it to me, girl.
Okay. Well,
okay.
so I said, so you can
I
see
see what you're
how,
saying, though.
how
Yeah, it needs to be in a
yes.
strip.
Yes. So you're going
Okay.
to sew your strips, and then you're going to sew your other strip so that it is like
Okay,
this.
there we go.
Okay. I
Okay.
gave it to you wrong. I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
apologize. So,
No, it's all
so
right.
then you're going to sew your 3 strips together going this direction. See, this is where you have to have your. We
Okay,
don't have
that
another
other one's
Oh,
not
it's
sewn.
right here. That's okay. All right. So then you
Okay,
can kind of
and
get an
then you
idea.
sew it down
then
the
you
middle.
Sew
So there's no
it down
Y
the-
seams.
No.
It's just straight strip sewing.
Yes.
Perfect.
Isn't that awesome?
That's so
Other
awesome.
than our one that I handed you wrong. But
That's okay.
I mean, that's how simple it is. You just
Yeah.
you do it in rows, and then you can match your seams. The reason why I think it's helpful to have this one isn't.
So this actually would end up on this side right
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Because then that way it will
will be-
bring this over here a little bit better, so that when you do sew it together, your kaleidoscope
Yep.
block is all one piece,
yeah.
and then your next one goes.
Yeah,
Oh my
isn't
gosh,
that cool?
Jackie, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so then when you're pinning these together, just a little tip when you're pinning your rows together, I like to put a pin right where that intersects.
Through the center.
Through the center. And then I'll take it to the other one.
Right.
So
to
this
the
is how
center.
I will sew my rows together. Because it's just like pinning. You know that they're right. Then it's ready to go. So then when you sew it and you open it, those points will
Yeah.
all match,
Yeah.
which is
Perfect.
really helpful as well. So then when you're sewing it too, when you're 1/4 of an inch, you're just going to sew right through that X.
Yeah.
So that you won't cut off your points.
Jackie, that's
Isn't
incredible.
Isn't that fun?
Because I think when I did mine, I did the whole hexagon together.
Yes, and then you had.
And then I had other pieces that I had to put with it, because a stack and whack is a little bit different than this, I will
Yes.
say. But your hexagons together are what makes it look right.
Well, and I love not having to do the Y seams.
Yes.
Because the Y seams
Yes.
are a difficult thing. If you don't understand what a Y seam is, that's where if you had this all sewn together here, then you've got to, it's like, how are you going to sew that, right?
yeah, yeah.
You're going to have to sew a portion of the seam and make sure, I mean, it's just really,
This is the way
so
to do
much
it.
easier if you're going to do it. You just need
Yes.
to make sure that you do it
In
in
strips,
strips,
like
yes,
this.
which
Yes.
works out perfect. And I love the hexagon. I love the hexagon block. And if you can do it a half hexie, it works out really
Yeah.
good. But this is just so fun, isn't this? I mean, I'm so inspired. I really want to find one. And we will have some kits that we're selling.
Okay.
We've got some that we're selling on our website.
Is it going to be this one?
I'm not sure what we have.
Okay.
I know we have several different ones, and we also have some that are yardage. So there's a Christmas one. There's this particular one. I love this one because mustard is obviously one of my favorite colors.
Chris would take that.
So
over
I'm like,
everything,
you
too.
can kind of tell why I chose that one, but there's that one. And it's a lot of yardage of fabric. This is the thing, is
Right.
that you will just know that it's a lot of yardage.
And then I have also seen that any of the scrap pieces that they do, they put them together and they use them for the back.
Yes, exactly. I said you can use every little bit that you and not
Anything
waste
left
anything.
over, so that you're not wasting any
so
of it.
Isn't that a lot of fun?
That's perfect. I love it.
I just love the whole concept.
I've
of
always
this.
admired this one block wonder.
Yeah.
Block.
Well, and especially when you're going and you're looking for fabric and stuff like that, we have a great tip for you
Yes.
in the next segment. And so hang tight. But first of all, Chris is going to kind of show you something really cool about the website of this One Block Wonder.
Hi, it's Chris from My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop, and I want to know this. Have you always admired the One Block Wonder block, but wondered what it might look like actually on the quilt? I know for me that could be a scary thing, but I have the perfect tool to introduce you to that will help take all the fear out of what that fabric may look like. Simply open up a new browser and just type in oneblockWonder.com. From here, you're going to choose Design Helper right here at the very top, and up will come this screen. At this point, you're going to go to the right, and there's a little tab here that says Choose Local Image. This is where I'm going to be able to upload whatever project I'm working on, whether it's fabric, whether it's a panel, either way. I'm going to grab the sea turtle, which is awfully cute. This is a panel that we've been working with here at my girlfriend's quilt shop. At this point, just right down here below, you can see a few different numbers. I really don't pay close attention to these other than how wide I want my rows to be. So right there, it says 5 inches. I'm going to actually change mine to 4 inches. And finally, all I have to do is select this button where it says Make Hexes. Click on that, scroll down, and take a look. One, you can see all the different triangles that are going to be cut. But 2, this is where the real magic happens. Wow! Can you believe this? I mean, this is like a brand new quilt. And if you wanted to, you could just put the panel right in the center, and wouldn't that be stunning? Now, this is what's also really cool. Once you're in here, let's say you want to play around with this. This is like your virtual design wall. So I may not like the hexagon here, so I might move it to over here, and I can do that. And then I can move other hexagons all the way around. Now, one of the really neat things about the One Block Wonder is depending on the direction that you put your triangles, you can get a completely different look on your hexagons. Let's take a look at what I mean here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here. And let's take this hexagon, for example. If I wanted to see a different hexagon, same print, same triangles, just directed in a different way, all I have to do is double click on it. Wow, that's a completely new block. Let's try it again. Oh my goodness, how fun is that? Okay, well, as I like to say, that was so much fun. I want to do it again, right? So let's go up to this one right here. I mean, you can have so much fun. In fact, it could really take you down a rabbit hole, that's for sure. So this one right here, I've got that purple star in the center. But let's see what happens when I double click on that hexagon. Wow, a completely different look, and a completely different look right there. Let's try it at this one. Aha, take a look at that one. And again, a completely different look. So can you see how much fun you can have with this free design helper? Again, it's found at oneblockwonder.com, and you can take any image, whether it's a panel or whether it's straight yardage. The fabric is going to look completely different, and it will take you by surprise, and you are going to have the most fun making that next quilt.
Wasn't that amazing?
Jackie, I'm going home and I'm going to get on my computer.
That is,
and I'm going to
yeah.
find some. That is awesome.
Well, and the fun thing is that you can just type in the fabric that you're using.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That,
find one that
you know
really
what?
like.
That right there would make it so much easy.
Yeah.
Oh, how easy that would be.
You can plan it and then change it around.
But what happens if I'm going to go to the store and find a piece of fabric?
Hey, we have a solution.
What
for
have we
that.
got going for that?
So
Okay, I can't take my computer, can't take a picture of it, but I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna try and find me a piece of fabric that I think I would like, that would help, and I wanna see what it's gonna look like. So we have something.
Yes, we do. So Sandra, show us what it is.
This is called a magic mirror, okay? And all it is just a mirror that you open up, and it has 2 sides on it, okay? we're going to take this to the store with us, and we're going to lay it on our fabric, and it's going to give us an idea of what our kaleidoscope blocks are going to look like.
What kind of blocks you can...
Let's show you how
Yeah.
this works, okay? So I am going to lay this out here on my fabric and say,
About 45 degrees.
yeah, okay, I want this piece right here at the center of my block. I
Yeah.
just want to see what it's going to
Which
look
is
like.
cool.
Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put that at the center of my block, and I'm going to move this to a 45-degree angle.
Look how cool
and
that is.
look at what it does. Look at the center right there, what that's doing with that piece of fabric.
And
At a 45-degree angle, and I can move it in a little bit, and look, it just brings that
really
in.
cool.
But look at what the rest of the block's gonna look like too.
Yeah.
Look at this right here. This line right here is gonna go all the way around. Look at what it just did to that piece of fabric.
That's cool.
That's
Let's do it
amazing.
on one of the flowers.
Okay,
Let's see what the flower,
Let's
that daisy.
see what
Look
this
how
daisy
cool that
does.
is.
Look what that daisy did. Look at the center of it there. And let's
Okay,
see.
that's really cool.
Then I'm gonna bring it out a little bit. Look at what it did. It even made it wider.
That's really
Look at that.
cool.
Isn't that
Oh, that's
amazing?
so fun. That is a really handy thing to have is when you go to the store.
So if you're gonna do the One Block Wonder and you're like, what fabric am I gonna use? And you're all of a sudden you're gonna take that piece of fabric, you're gonna go, what is it really? I can't imagine in my mind what this is gonna look like when it's all done and it looks like all these little kaleidoscopes all over my wall or all over my quilt.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take this magic mirror with you so that you can just set it down on your fabric and find out what all these little kaleidoscope blocks are going to
Which
look
is
like.
going to be fun. So this is kind of
I'm taking
how-
that home with
right.
me.
It's like, well, and that's why you would want to look for kind of a bigger floral,
Exactly.
maybe, and some different variety of colors, and
Yeah.
different elements that you could see that would make it really interesting. Oh, it would be so fun. Okay, well, I'm inspired.
I am. I'll tell
Okay.
you what, Jackie, thank
right.
you so much that you have really led me down that rabbit hole.
Yes, I know, and hopefully, hopefully we'll be able to see some fun quilts that you've made. If you have, please post them, and we'd love to hear from you on your experiences with the One Block Wonder. So thank you so much for being. It was so
thank
fun
you.
today, Sandra.
Yeah, this was awesome.
This was a fun way to begin the week. So
Yes, this is great.
yeah, so we're excited, and tomorrow we'll have Chris and the gang back, and they will be telling us all about the things that happened down in Houston.
I'm excited to
It
hear.
will be exciting to hear that as well.
All the fun stuff they get to see.
You enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll do what you want to do and that you enjoy.
Yeah.
All right, take care and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.